not everyone was standing pat on this Festivus. The Red Sox went out and signed a pitcher, Walker Buehler, 1 year, little over $21 million for 2025. And there are going to be some people that are upset about this. But I would urge you to look at what you got rather than what you did not get. And what you got is a guy who was a top of the line starting pitcher as of 2 years ago. He didn't ease back into 2024 off the Tommy John surgery in 23. His numbers were not good in the regular season in 24. In fact, his first postseason start, he got shelled as well against San Diego. He comes back, finishes that postseason run very strong for the Dodgers, has a great start at Yankee Stadium in the World Series, actually closes out the World Series in Game 5. And obviously the Red Sox have seen his potential in the postseason. Going back to that 2018 World Series, he was phenomenal in that Game 3. That was 6 years ago. But, they know that he has a postseason acumen. So what you got is a guy that is hopefully easing back in after the surgery at age 29 and is going to be a pretty good starting pitcher. Probably not an ace guy, but there's that ace potential in him. Now, some Red Sox fans will be upset because it's going to mark what they didn't get. And what they didn't get, it looks like, is going to be Corbin Burnes and probably Sasaki as well, if people are still on the Sasaki train and want that the Japanese phenom to come and pitch for the Red Sox to get that, to fill that need after missing out on Yamamoto last year. It probably looks like you're not getting one of those two guys. And you'll remember when I had Fennessy on, I said, there's some guys out there that you can get that aren't Corbin Burnes, but what it will show you either through free agency like Walker Buehler or through a trade for a guy like Logan Gilbert. And it's not bad in a vacuum, but what it will show you is that this ownership is once again not ready to spend. And that's going to be an issue, if not an issue right now for this team. This team got better. You made your starting rotation better. But that could rear its ugly head this year. And then you're just going to be playing for the trade deadline and using your capital again. Because this once again signifies that the Red Sox, like the Patriots, actually, we'll get to the Patriots in a minute. The Red Sox broke news this morning. But it will show that the Red Sox ownership is willing to go cheap under the guise of value rather than going out and getting the top of the line starting pitching and spending money and finding actual real value there. They are so terrified of overpaying or what they see as overpaying, which is different from the other contenders in the league. That's what they are so worried about. And this Walker Buehler signing signifies that, because the chances are you're not going to be able to say like, oh, this was a disaster of a deal. It's 1 year, it's 21 million, and he's probably not going to be catastrophic, right? He's not going to suck, probably, but he did not have a great year last year. And so you're probably not going to be like, oh, wow, what a disaster. It's not going to be a Sandoval deal. But you'll see, Corbin Burnes finishing in the top 5 for the Cy Young again. You'll see Blake Snell like winning a Cy Young again. And you'll be like, well, the Red Sox could have just spent some money and got these guys. And that is what I'm ultimately worried about. But in a vacuum, I don't mind the Walker Buehler signing because it makes your team better. It's low risk, high reward. And to me, that's better than nothing, because there was just as likely a scenario that they were just going to go out and get nobody. And I did see a good tweet about this from Nugget Chef, which is Jay Hay Kid. He was on Carabas' show for a while. And he says, the sequence of issuing the qualifying offer to Nick Pivetta, having him decline, and then setting yourself up for a comp pick when he signs elsewhere, and then signing Walker Buehler, who unquestionably has more upside, at essentially the QO amount for Pivetta is a nice move. And it is. I mean, that's a good way to look at it because they were much more likely to go hard and get Nick Pivetta and re-sign Nick Pivetta as they were to go out and get Corbin Burns. It's crazy. I know it's stupid, but this is the ownership that you're dealing with. So to get Walker Buehler instead is a good move. And speaking of Carabas, he went out and put out this. Garrett Crochet, Tanner Houck, Brian Bayo, Lucas Giolito, and Walker Buehler. Patrick Sandoval ready to roll in the second half. Cutter Crawford in as a spot starter. That's a rotation I can get excited about. And again, in a vacuum, when you're still looking at that, that is a good way to look at it. You know, I mean, that's a solid rotation right there. That's something you can live with. That's something you can get to the playoffs with and potentially make some noise with. If it goes well, right? Because again, Bueller's coming off a surgery, a major surgery. Giolito's coming off a major surgery. Tanner Houck, you hope you can get his innings up. Brian Bayo, you need to get his innings up. And Garrett Crochet, you need to get his innings up. You don't have a guy in there that is a proven 180 inning guy that's not coming off a surgery within the last year. That shows that it's, low risk, high reward because you don't expect all 5 of them to get hurt. But all 5 of them have a yellow flag as to them not finishing the season or getting through a whole season, let alone giving you a postseason run. That's the thing that concerns me about not this signing necessarily, but this as a whole, this rotation as a whole. But when I sit back and I think about it, maybe it's just the Christmas spirit in me softening me up, but it's a better rotation than last year. And maybe that's the baby steps this team needs, because to be honest, even at 500 last year, I don't think that team was very far off from making the postseason. I think they're a ways off from really competing for a World Series title, but they weren't far away from being a postseason team last year. They needed to shore up that rotation, and I think you can argue they've done that. They didn't go out and get the big pieces that they are capable of getting, and maybe they're not done yet, but I doubt they're going to get Corbin Burns after a deal to get Walker Buehler at 1 year. But then we're going to do the same song and dance next year. Like it's going to be the same thing. But you made your rotation better. You went from a team that almost made the postseason to getting better. And at this point, there's not much more that you can ask for from this ownership group and from GM Craig Breslow. So I'm a fan of the Walker Buehler deal in a vacuum. I definitely don't like the other things that it implicates, because I think the Red Sox had every opportunity in the world to go out and just spend the money and get one of these freaking guys and have a Cy Young candidate at the top of your rotation. Instead, you are not taking flyers isn't fair to these guys, but you're banking on all of these guys to either have sustained success that they haven't had, or get back to success that they had before they got hurt, right? Like you need Bayo to be almost ace caliber. You need Tanner Houck to repeat the best year of his career. You need Crochet to stay healthy. You need Buehler to go back to the pitcher he was before the surgery. You need Giolito to go back to the pitcher he was before the surgery. That could be a lot to ask, and this could fall apart. But right now, on paper, it looks like you're in a pretty solid position. You need to go out and get a right-handed slugger. Teoscar Hernandez is just begging for a contract from the Red Sox. That's what they'll need to do to get this better. But my favorite baseball day of the year is coming up, and that is Wednesday. The day of the year where I am most excited about baseball is Christmas Day, because everyone's 0-0 and MLB Network shows Ken Burns' baseball all day, and I'm just right back suckered in, and I'm ready to go. And then they start playing baseball games every day, and I get a little tired of it.
We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. And if you like this video, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a ton. You can follow me on Twitter here for some more outrageous Boston sports takes coming to you every weekday at noon Eastern time. And then after that, wherever you get your podcasts.
We are Rogue Media Sports.